Hey, what's up? This is Michael Merriman. Let's see, what's today? Forgive me, I don't know what today is, but it is Saturday. Last week on the 1st, I had my surgery done on my right leg. I'm really excited about that. I even spent a little time standing on it, but I probably shouldn't because I've been told I shouldn't do that. But I have a mild cast on it. It's like a makeshift cast they make for me. And they'll be tearing that off, I hope. Well, for sure on the 14th. Maybe I'll still have to have another one, or they'll give me something else to wear. But they went in with my leg and they shaved off the bone, the excess bone that grew over the last 3 years. And it's pretty gnarly, but they shaved most of it off and they packed the fracture with that bone in order to do a bone graft, and they put some plating in there. At least that's what I was told they were going to do. I'll find out on the 14th what they did exactly. So, anyways, I'm in this medical facility and have been here for months. I've been in this position for years, but I've only been facing this thing for the last 5 months, where it means I have to be super patient because where I live, I don't have the freedom just to go and anytime I want to go, or go to the QT, or go to the Circle K, or buy anything I want, and which is fortunate because I don't have any money anyways. And so I share what money I do have with my daughter so she can provide for her children, which is awesome because that makes me feel really good. Even though I'm not working for it, I have worked for it. I have earned it. I have busted my butt in this country so much and have done a lot for my state. You may not have any idea, and I would share that with you if once we are friends, so you would know what I've done and what I haven't done. And you know, my daddy was a hard worker his whole life. His daddy before him, my mom worked until their fingers bled for years, and all that tax money went to this country and helped support this country. Well, guess what? I don't feel guilty about taking any kind of, well, say like food stamps or anything. I don't take money from the government, period. I don't even collect disability, which I probably should have, but I don't because it's not going to be enough to support me in any way. I plan to go back to work very soon, which is important because it's going to help me and support my idea with Let's Start Something. Now, if you know who I am and have been paying attention, what I'm doing is it's called Let's Start Something. And what is that about? It's about starting the conversation, right? What's important about the conversation is that we're talking about our community as a whole. It doesn't matter to me what your background is, your nationality. If you can't even understand what I'm saying, then hopefully maybe we could do a translation somehow someday. I'll figure it out. But for the meantime, this is my only outlet because I don't have any income. I'm not working, and I suspect and have very well worked this out to where what's going on right now with just the videos is helping. I'm trying to start a movement, not in just in my community, not in just this country, but around the world. The idea is that we all come together as family. I have lost a tremendous amount of stuff and people in my life recently. I lost my son, which is very hard on me. It was really hard on me for a minute, but I come to understand, look, it was an accident. And I don't understand because, you know, I'm a believer, right? I'm a Christian. And I think, well, God takes the good ones first, right? And he was a good man. He was special, and he was always special to me. I knew him from a little boy. I kind of adopted him. No, I did adopt him. The only reason he didn't have my name is because I didn't make that happen. The same with my oldest daughter. Even though we discussed it a long, long time ago, I just didn't make it happen. Now, the name doesn't matter. They always are, excuse me, they're always going to know me as Dad, no matter what. And I haven't been perfect. I'm the last one that would ever say that I'm a good dad. But I'm trying to make up for that in the best way I know how, which is be the best man I can be. Whether we are family or not, they're going to see who I am and who I truly am. Because when we first met, I was very, I wasn't black and white. I had a lot of gray, but what happened was that I wanted them to be raised up right. I wanted them to have what I didn't have, which is a father. I didn't have a dad. My dad left me when I was a little kid. I only got to see him every other weekend, and we hung out. But he never played dad. He just played some guy I knew. You know what I mean? And so it's important for you dads out there and for your mothers to be very influential in your kids' lives. understand who you are, be honest with with yourself, and what you do and why you do it. I made big mistakes. You know what I mean? I married my first wife for the wrong reasons. Um, I've always loved her, but the problem is that the mistake I made is wasn't in love with her. In fact, when I got pregnant with her, her and I was, we were bad. We were so toxic, it was ridiculous. Not just because of her. I was no better. I was strung out on drugs, and I wasn't easy to get along with. So I'm not blaming it all on her. Not for a minute. But I was a big part of the problem, and so we separated, and for the better. And I ended up doing a lot of prison time, and in that time, I got better. I basically figured out, hey, life is important. There's values that I need to have, and I kept those values, and I was that person. That person ended up making compromises and making mistakes based on his own paranoia, own ridiculous thoughts that came into my mind because I hadn't spent enough time with my girlfriend before we ended up getting really serious. In fact, she lost her mother, a friend of mine who I love dearly. And when that happened, she was broken, and I needed to be there for her, and I was going to be, and I was. Shortly after that, I kind of lost a grip on it because I needed attention. After about a year, I couldn't handle it anymore. And who am I to say, how long you should mourn, especially since I mourned my son for so long, and I was strung out and messed up for a long time. But I'm gonna tell you that I own my shit. I know that I made big mistakes when it comes to her and her kids and my kids. They're all my kids. I don't look at them any different. I never have. I never associated a pecking order. It was that way all the time. And my daughter, my youngest daughter, kind of took a back seat, and that same thing happened to me, and I wasn't paying attention to what was going on because I was so caught up in work and trying to make sure everything was all right and not knowing what to do and doing what I shouldn't have done. It's just a plethora of things, but I was doing it on my own, which was really hard. And the reason for that is because there was no communication. This is why I do what I do. I want people to understand something. I want them to understand that they're human, that they're loved, no matter what you do. If you grew up cutting yourself, or you're bulimic, or you're an addict, or you have depression, or you have anxiety, any of those things can be worked out with just your mind and heart. You have to force yourself not to go that direction. I would never, even when I was young, I hated the fact, and this is not a good thing, but when I would get strung out on, say, methamphetamines, the most popular thing people do is they get paranoid. They start seeing things they shouldn't be seeing. They start acting in ways they shouldn't be acting. That wasn't me. The reason for that is because I wasn't going to destroy my high just to be paranoid. In fact, I faced it just like, come on, let me see what you got kind of thing all the time. And that wasn't always wise. But it's the same thing in life. Anytime an issue comes up, whether it be good or bad, you have to face it with honesty and respect. I think it's very important that you have values, and those values are yours. They don't have to be the same as mine or anybody else, but those values you keep. Principles before personalities. I like that saying. I didn't come up with it, so don't quote me on that. But it's very important that you stick to your principles before anything else. It doesn't matter what people do or do to you. What's important is that you stick to your guns. That's something that I didn't always do, and I made a big mistake by doing that. I saw things and was a part of things I never wanted to be a part of, and it just ended up that way. It was like a matter of survival, and it was ridiculous. I don't need to survive that way anymore. I don't look at myself as a person that needs people in order to survive, but I do need love, and I want everybody to be loved. I've been alone for almost 3 years. I've never had anybody by my side during this whole particular time. I've had people show up and care for me and then disappear, but in reality, I've been alone this whole time. And it hurt, especially when I needed them the most. And it's funny how when you think you need somebody the most, they're not there for you, and all the love and respect and care you've given them throughout the years, even when you were screwing up, they automatically just disappear and they don't want nothing to do with you. That's a scary and real painful thing, and that's why I do what I do. Because I think we can avoid those situations if we just pay attention to one another, if we communicate. I wasn't a great communicator. My girlfriend wasn't a great communicator. When we discussed things, it was at a level of intensity or yelling or something like that. Um, when we tried, we were good. But if we both didn't do it together, it was bad. It was either one or the other, either her or me. And, I came home after doing 5 years in prison to a man, my son, to his kids, whom I've never met, and I love them very much. I miss Serenity so much. I can't tell you, but she's a wonderful child, and I hope to meet her again someday. She was one of the smartest kids and most adorable child I've ever met in my whole life, and she happened to be my son's kid. That was awesome. There's other kids as well that I didn't meet and have met recently. There's still one I haven't met. Her name is Journey. She's very cute. But forgive me if you watch this and you don't like me bringing up those names. Those names mean a lot to me. I keep the other names secret because I don't want them to feel like I'm picking on them, because I'm not. They were very awesome people, including my girlfriend. Okay, she was amazing. But I made bad choices, and I've known her my whole life, and we could have done better. We just didn't give it our all, especially towards the end. So what am I saying? Selfishness is something that is really, it's like, to some people, a rite of passage. They don't understand that they're being selfish. They don't understand that they're being arrogant. They don't understand that they're being mean or hateful in one way or another. And I never looked at myself that way, but I'm sure because of the way I was acting and what I was going through, that's what it seemed like to others. That I was selfish, that I was a bastard, and some kind of piece of shit, and I understand that. The thing is that I don't accept it. I do look at it from other people's perspective, because it's important to love that person and understand them for who they are and what they're going through, because if you don't, then you're just being quote-unquote selfish. So, I've been that way for a while. I learned to be arrogant, over the top, overbearing, and sometimes extra. My kids would call me extra. That's funny. That's the reality of it. So it's important to keep it simple and to keep your values close to your heart, and make sure that you develop friends and loved ones that have the same values and same outlook, because that way you can work together when things start to hit the fan. You know what I mean? So I'm doing Let's Start Something, the conversation, and this is how I do it. I talk about myself. I talk about my situation, how far I've come, my failures, my successes, all those things. I've done everything you can possibly imagine as far as hard work. I've even been a wildland firefighter. That's one of the hardest jobs on the planet, I promise. With that, I'm not being arrogant or boasting about that. It's just a fact. I never stuck to anything too long. I never gave everything I needed to give, except when I was doing it. But those things are all gone now, and now I'm alone. And what I'm doing is very important to me. Soon I will have my peer sport counseling certificate, which will springboard me into my idea, and hopefully have a company of my own within the next few years. And I want your support for that. I want you, that if you don't have the energy or the time to make an effort to make a video of your own with Let's Start Something, talk about your situation, or interview somebody that has a bad situation, and you can make that turn around to a good front to where people will see what possibly could happen. I've done that with several people that I've interviewed. The reason why I'm not interviewing anybody here at the moment is because I was asked not to, maybe because of legal reasons. Out of respect, I'm doing that. Now, I may go ahead and interview people that I think are important and are interesting, and I may put them on a backlog and share them with you later. That way, nobody here will have any problems. I'm doing the best I can just to be right. I had a quote that I came up with, which is, I'm not trying to get it all back. I'm trying to get right so I can have it all back. And what that means is that, God has stripped me from everything I've ever loved and ever cared for. Not because he hates me, because he loves me. And because of that, we're going to be successful. Are you over there photobombing me, Stephen? This is Stephen. Stephen, come here.
No.
Come here.
I'm going upstairs.
No, don't be a jerk. Anyways, he's one of the first people I interviewed. He's leaving tomorrow. I'm really concerned about him, to be honest, because he's blown off treatment. He got me started. Well, he gave me the information I needed to go to Choice Recovery. And what I like about Choice Recovery is the term choice. For me, it was a choice. Not everybody there has been there because they want to. Some people have been there because of court reasons, a probation officer, or something like that. It's an outpatient rehab. But for me, it's like research because I know how to stay sober. I know what keeps me sober is being loving, caring, and honest. Brutally honest with myself is really important. I don't let anybody get in my face about anything anymore. Nobody has a right to invade my space or talk shit to me because they don't know who I am. And the people that know who I am that talk shit are just being ignorant because they know who I am. You know what I mean? So I don't allow it anymore. I won't take it from anybody anymore. I'm not going to be passive aggressive. I'm not going to do any of those things. If I got a problem, I'm going to step up to it every time. Why? Because I've proven that I can. I really have. I've done things in the last 3 years I didn't think I could because I had to survive. And because of that, I'm very proud of who I am today. Because I don't have to live that way anymore because I choose to. So I choose to be right. I choose to go to this place and get all the information. And I'm learning about holistic approaches. We're talking about meditation, food, knowledge, power, mind, body, heart, and soul. And that is the way to approach any problem you have, whether it be addiction, alcoholism, or just depression. I think it's very important to figure it out real quick. I had a good idea about who I was a long time ago. I gave up taking medication when they told me I was bipolar. Come to find out, I just found out that I'm not bipolar, and that was all bad. That was all wrong. Everything now is more situational. My situation has changed. So because of that, I put a lot of effort into what I do, and this is very important. So if you understand what I'm talking about when it comes to Let's Start Something, if you get what I'm trying to put down, what I'd like you to do if you watch this is get some energy up, get the idea. You ain't got to be perfect. Start a video, and when you start the video, I want you to start with maybe your name. You don't have to tell me who you are or tell people who you are. You can just explain your situation, where you're at now, whether it's good, whether it's bad, and reach out for help. That's important. I don't claim to have all the knowledge and wisdom in the world because I'm searching for it every day. And by doing that, I develop relationships all the time. I make about 3 or 4 new friends a day. And there are very interesting people out there in the world, believe me. I mean, I'm talking people from Ukraine, Japan, Singapore, Taiwan, Poland, Turkey, Algeria, and other places. I made friends all over the world. And I talk to these people on video chat, and we talk about just life in general, how life is over there, how life is over here. And, a lot of people outside this country don't understand the American dream. They don't understand the American situation, for lack of a better definition. And what's good about that is I get to share that with them on a daily basis. And they're learning from me, and I'm learning from them. And they really like that. They really like to have a connection with people they've never met before. And so that's why I do what I do. So I'm hoping that eventually I'll have enough investors and enough people backing this whole thing that we can start it properly. In fact, I met a woman and a man who are on Gold Rush, the show. I spent hours with the fiance of Rick Neese, and we talked about a lot of things. We talked about her situation, my situation, life in general, how she's working, how she works for Discovery, which is cool. I'm hoping to actually leak my idea and my videos to Discovery and see if they pick it up, because that would be cool. Discovery Channel, why not? You know what I mean? And this situation is a different approach, and I know it's going to work because it is actually a caring thing. It's very important that I change or help change the perspective with hospitals when it comes to nurses and doctors. They only have to do 1 day of education when it comes to addiction to get the degree. 1 day. And that's not enough because they have a blackened heart when it comes to people who do. They don't understand why people do what they do. I saw a video the other day from a man who is trying to work on the, I forget what it's called. It's some kind of human biology that has something to do with diabetes, right? And so in his early 2 years, his first 2 years of medicine, he was an emergency doctor. And a woman was there with a bad foot, and her foot was bad because she was diabetic, overweight, and out of shape. he had a bad thought of her, and he was prejudiced because he thought that what he learned in his life, that people get diabetic because they're fat and overweight, and that's just not true. However, that's the way he thought, and when he went in there to speak to her, he spoke to her in a bad manner, and he treated her like crap, but gave her the best care he could possibly give her. She lost her butt. Now, in his statement over TED, it was a TED Talk, in his statement, he realized that he made a mistake, and he is looking at the science today for real and trying to overcome the fact that we need all this medicine and this care, and we can start treating it at the, I think, metabolic rate, something like that. I don't know. Anyways, I don't know all the lingo, but I'm learning it. What's important is that this man was able to change the way he thought because he cared about people, and he regrets that day every day of his life. He was in tears when he gave the statement. He's never seen her before. He would wish he could take it back and apologize to her, but he says, if you see this, I'm sorry. And it's very important to own your shit, and that's what I do. You know, to my girlfriend, my lifelong friend, I'm sorry. I am. I really am. But I love you. And I made some mistakes, and honestly, I think this is for the better for both of us. But I do love you. I love my kids very much, and I love my grandkids very much. But I made mistakes, and I'm owning it now. I've been owning it for a while. I've had to, because I've been the only one that's gone to prison, the only one that has to eat it, suck it up my whole life. Not the people who did the things with me. They got to stay home and deal with life on a real shitty level. They didn't have time to get a time out and figure things out for themselves. I did, so I feel fortunate compared to most people, because I did what I had to do when it was time to do it, and the mistakes I made out here, I was hoping to avoid in the future. I'm telling you, I realize that I'm actually an addict, that I have an illness. There's nothing I can do to take that illness away. I have overcome so many things in the last few months. After my surgery, I was given Oxy 5s every 6 hours. Now, I don't have those in my possession, but the first 24 hours, there was an 18-hour period where I didn't have anything because I had to go back to the hospital. But the good thing about that is I met Rick Neese from Gold Rush, and I hope to continue to make friends with them. Rick and I haven't spoke. It was just her and I spoke when he went back to the hotel, and she was left alone. Unfortunately, she was not happy about that, and I agree with her. That was a fucked up thing. But I don't judge. It is what it is. I have no idea what the relationship's like. But I love myself today more than I ever have. I take care of myself every day. I give myself what I want every day. And I do that for others every day. I could do that now, even if I had money or I don't have money. That's a very difficult thing to say, but it's true. Because people don't need your money, they need your love and care. They need your respect and dignity. They want to have their dignity no matter what. And their dignity can be taken away in a lot of different ways, especially in a place like this. I've seen some very tough things where people just didn't have what they needed before they went to the Lord. We lost a few people here, and I pray that they are well with the Lord and everything is okay. And it was sad to watch them go because they didn't have family and friends around them, even though they had family and friends. I don't want to die alone, and I'm not going to. I feel a man's legacy is all about who's there at the funeral. Who cared? Who showed up? It's not about your money. It's not about your success. It's not about any of that. It's about your character. Character is really important. And we can talk about integrity. We can talk about loyalty, honesty, respect, dignity, all those things. Caring, giving. I'm all those things wrapped up in a little bow. The thing is that I haven't been able to express that in many, many years because all I've been able to do is be focused on one or two things, and that's God or my family. And I didn't take consideration about everybody else around me. Why should I care? They're not my friends, they're not my family, but that's wrong. See, I'm affected by what everybody else does. It's a small world, believe me. I know for a fact. So I'm hoping that you will join me with Let's Start Something. Create a video or get a hold of me on Messenger. I put these on Facebook all the time. So if you find it, like it, share it to people you don't want anything to do with it, just put it on its way. The more people that watch it, the more opportunities we give people to understand. Now, I'm not just sitting up here trying to gloat and be somebody I'm not. I am 100% who I am every minute of the day. So I'm hoping that you will get what I'm saying and that you will find help if it's not with me, somebody else. It's out there, and sometimes it's really over the top, especially when you look at the scientific things. But in reality, it's very simple. If you want to live happy, don't be bitter, don't be angry, accept the fact that you are no better than anybody else, and nobody's any better than you, no matter how hard they try to be. Let it go. Let them go. Let the problems go. Forgiveness is the quickest way to a clean heart. I've been preaching that since I was a youngster. You can ask my kids. And if you don't think it's true, try me. If you want to be happy, let it go. Be who you are, accept who you are, and love who you are, no matter what your race is, no matter what your background is, no matter if you're fat, no matter if you're tall, skinny, ripped from head to toe. It doesn't matter. What matters is who you are, because people will pay attention. And if they don't love you, they're going to hate you. And after they hate you, they're going to be jealous. That's the way it works. Change the world by just being a better person every day of your life. Make somebody happy. Do it good. Do it right. Do it for me and do it for yourself. God bless you. I hope you understand what I'm trying to say. I'm going to keep doing these videos as long as I can do them. I'm hoping to do more interviews. That's really important because I want other people's story to be told. And that's why I want you to help me. Please, let's start something. See you later.